President Trump and Jeffrey Epstein's names are all over the internet today as Trump haters seek to connect Trump to the pedophile and say that he was part of these disgusting crimes. Trump defenders say this is ridiculous and distracting from the real criminals. I've got a lot of legal stories to go through, so let's jump right into the news. A new twist has emerged in the Jeffrey Epstein saga, pulling President Donald Trump back into the spotlight. House Democrats on the Oversight Committee claim to have uncovered a 2003 birthday letter allegedly written by Trump to Epstein, something Trump has long denied existed. The note, taken from Epstein's so-called birthday book, includes lighthearted banter about shared interests and a mysterious, wonderful secret. Now, the left keeps writing this line over and over again, that Trump denied this existed. He never denied it existed. He just said that he didn't create it, that he didn't draw it, and that he never signed it. This is the reason that he is suing the Wall Street Journal for a huge amount of money. So don't get the two mixed up in your mind. They're saying he said it didn't exist, and he's saying it doesn't exist to me because I'm not the one that created it. Now, in a post on X, White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt pushed back against the hoax by stating, the latest piece published by the Wall Street Journal proves the entire birthday card story is false. All I have said, as I have said all along, it's very clear that President Trump did not draw this picture and did not sign it. President Trump's legal team will continue to aggressively pursue litigation. This fake news perpetuated the Democrat Epstein hoax. Now, Vice President JD Vance, he has weighed in on this. He said, the Democrats don't care about Epstein. They don't even care about his victims. That's why they were silent about it for years. The only thing they care about is concocting another fake scandal like Russiagate to smear President Trump with lies. No one is falling for this BS. So he's saying that this is a story, meaning this spin-off story trying to pull Donald Trump into the middle is all that Democrats care about. Now, I find two things interesting. Democrats only seem to care about Epstein in as much as it makes Donald Trump look bad. They don't care about the victims. They're not pushing to get the files released. In fact, it's been multiple Democrat judges that have blocked the release of files. They also did nothing while Joe Biden was in office, even though they had the ability to go after this story. Second, they released only one piece of new evidence. So they get this entire, all of these boxes from the Epstein estate. The only one that they leak to the media is the supposed birthday card letter. Now, Democrat Representative Jasmine Crockett fired back at Republicans, and I want to show that on the screen to you right now because she is saying Trump swore up and down he never signed Epstein's birthday book, called it fake, even sued the Wall Street Journal for reporting it. Now the evidence tells a different story. And if he went this far to cover up a doodle and a secret message, what else is he hiding? It's time to release the full unredacted Epstein files. The survivors deserve justice, and the American people deserve the truth. So again, two things come to my mind. First, this is the weirdest drawing I've ever seen. This is the letter that they are saying is connected to Donald Trump. So is this a naked woman? I don't understand what this is. Why wouldn't you draw breasts on a naked woman's silhouette? Instead, these look like collarbones. Well, now you've got sickos on the left saying, oh, this is prepubescent girl bodies. So that's why there's no breasts. Second, it turns out to be a Trump letter that has zero incriminating evidence that he trafficked children. So again, the White House and President Trump are sticking with the story that he never wrote this, he didn't do the doodle, and that this isn't him signing anything. So not only are no victims coming forward saying that Donald Trump was involved, there were multiple lawsuits and arrests of Jeffrey Epstein, and Donald Trump was never implicated. Ghislaine Maxwell, his partner, said Trump had no involvement, and two of Jeffrey Epstein's lawyers say they never saw Trump's name tied to anything incriminating. But let me know what you guys think of this weird drawing. To me, I don't know. This is like an armless woman with no breasts. To me, it seems a little bit strange. But I'm not an artist, right? Now, many are saying that this story is really big and that we are not being told the full truth. And so President Trump, he's not wanting to get involved in this story. He's saying the Jeffrey Epstein letter is a dead issue and that he is sticking with his story, that this is defamation, that this is made up, and he is suing the Wall Street Journal and Rupert Murdoch for $10 billion. Now, Midas Touch and others, they are immediately saying, of course, Trump is a pedophile. They are saying slanderous things, that Karoline Leavitt is part of covering up a pedophile ring. I find it interesting. Over here on Ground News, you can see the bias. Look at this. Center left are the ones mostly writing about President Trump. Isn't that interesting? So the people that regularly write and try to discredit him, get him thrown out of the White House, they're the ones that are writing about this story the most. The right seems to not believe that this is anything to do with Trump. They also find the drawing to be extremely weird. All right, now, a major part of what Democrats are saying is, look at these signatures. So you have the Jeffrey Epstein card, where it's either like a dried out marker or it's photoshopped, but there's a lot of pixelation around this. See, like the empty space. Then you have a 1995 letter that he signed. Looks pretty close. Has a little ball at the end on these other two, not on this one. And this appears to be a very good marker and not Photoshop. Here's another one, a letter to Larry King. So they're all just a little bit different, but it does have some similarity. Now, you'll have to let me know in the comments. Some are saying that this is a real document. Others are saying that this is a forgery. Some are saying that this is photoshopped based on the pixelation of or a bad marker. I would definitely like to hear from you guys on that. I don't know what's going on, to be honest. I'm not going to pretend. I'm not going to take a side. A lot of people are saying, this is crazy, absolutely no involvement. Others are saying, the guy's a pedophile. He definitely slept with children. I'm saying the President of the United States did not deny this document. He is just saying it's not his. He didn't write it. He didn't sign it. And this is not his artwork. And he is suing in order to defend his name. Now, the White House was asked if they would allow an expert to come in and review the document and have professional, forgery people, professional letter writers, handwriting experts come in. Let me show you what was said by Karoline Leavitt when asked about that, because it's very interesting.
Go ahead. About the Epstein case, would the White House support a professional handwriting expert review of the document released yesterday to prove that it's not the president's signature?
Sure, we would support that. And in fact, I have already seen many forensic analysts of signatures coming out. I believe it was the Daily Signal that published a piece with 3 separate signature analysts who said that this absolutely was not the president's authentic signature. And we have maintained that position all along. The president did not write this letter. He did not sign this letter. And that's why the president's external legal team is aggressively pursuing litigation against the Wall Street Journal, and they will continue to. Christian.
Okay. So they're going to continue to seek legal repercussion. I will continue to keep you updated. From everything that I've studied and read, I doubt Donald Trump was involved in trafficking children, sleeping with children. Again, this letter has no incriminating information. It's a very strange drawing of almost like an androgynous body. Some are saying this is really weird. It doesn't look like a naked body. Others are saying, oh, this is the body of a child. Either way, it's very, very weird. All right. Democrats are again taking a combative stance against President Trump. Wow, shocker, right? Republicans are setting up a new January 6th committee in order to get the truth about January 6th to the American people. Now, unlike Nancy Pelosi, they want to bring on some Democrats. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries has picked Eric Swalwell, a Trump hater, Jasmine Crockett, a Trump hater, and Jared Moskowitz, a Trump hater. So I'm actually okay with this. That'll be a balance, right? So you're going to have some pro-Trump people and you're going to have some anti-Trump people, and we will get to the bottom. Now, at a press conference, Hakeem Jeffries warned Republicans that they would regret launching a second inquiry, which aims to challenge the original January 6th committee and may get support from Trump allies in the Justice Department and FBI. Now, if they have nothing to hide, why would they be worried? Sounds like you're projecting, right? Methinks thou dost protest too much, Hakeem Jeffries. Now, the panel chaired by Congressman Barry Loudermilk is already stirring controversy since Speaker Mike Johnson could reject the Democrats just like Nancy Pelosi did. It can be hard to know who to trust when it comes to news these days. In fact, I myself use ground news to help me understand, is this a left-leaning story or a right-leaning story, so that I can bring you guys unbiased news. For example, the Supreme Court has decided that they're going to take up President Trump's tariff case instead of waiting until next summer. You can see who's writing about it and what they're saying. CNN, for example, is going to say certain things that Fox News is not going to. You can also find other stories. For example, you might want to know what the Democrat Party is talking about. Here's a great example. California Governor Newsom says Trump has a relentless, unhinged obsession with the state of California. You can see who's writing about it. Oh, it's mostly left-leaning media. Now, if you want to better understand who controls your news and whether the news is left-leaning or right-leaning or right down the middle, you can use Ground News. In fact, if you go to ground.news/Stephen, you can get 40% off Vantage right now, or snap the QR code. I trust Ground News, and I think you will as well. All right, this is really sad. In the latest tragic case, President Donald Trump blamed the stabbing death of Ukrainian refugee Irina Zarutska on former North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper's soft on crime policies. Zarutska, who escaped the war in Ukraine, was fatally stabbed on a Charlotte Metro train by DeCarlos Brown Jr., a homeless man who had been arrested and released 14 times. The last time he was released after putting a promise in writing that he would be better. Surveillance footage has been released. Not only did this man stab her to death in the neck, but nobody on the train helped her. She literally just bled out and died. Now, North Carolina is calling on an investigation. And President Trump is saying we need to get good leaders in there, like Republican Senate candidate Michael Whatley, the former RNC president. They want to get in there, get rid of the weak on crime losers. They want to get to the bottom of what really happened. Now, Benny Johnson shared a clip of the White House commenting on this. It was Stephen Miller, and he goes off. He absolutely goes off on this. So let me bring this up, and I'll share that with you right now.
The Democrat Party, Sean, is terrorizing the American people. Just think about what is happening in our major cities, the bloodbaths every single weekend. One victim after another, one shooting after another, one murder after another. When you have Democrat politicians like Pritzker and Newsom that are freeing illegal alien pedophiles, illegal alien child abductors, illegal alien murderers back into our streets, to kidnap people, to beat them senseless, to stab them and shoot them to death. This is terrorism being waged against the American people. And then you look at that video that chills our very souls out of Charlotte, that beautiful young woman stabbed to death, murdered savagely on a subway, just trying to get home from work, fleeing war, only to run into a Democrat war zone here in our country. That monster, 14 prior arrests in and out. The Democrat policies of catch and release for barbarians and savages is truly an act of terror, Sean, against the American people. It cannot be explained unless you deeply, fundamentally hate America.
All right. He definitely did not hold back. Let me know in the comments. What do you guys think about these areas where they are soft on crime? I mean, why on earth is an abusive person who's committed all kinds of crimes arrested? The police risk their life to arrest somebody only to have a weak justice arm release these people. It's absolute insanity from my standpoint. Like, I don't understand this. I live in a city where they absolutely would not put up with this. Now, some are calling for the death penalty. Some are saying this person should be locked up. Others say this is mental illness and this person needs to get counseling and therapy. No, you murdered somebody. You're at least going to jail. But let's listen to what was said from the attorney leading the case over in North Carolina.
Her mother spoke with her uncle, had a very touching call with them. Our hearts go out to Arena's family. They are suffering like any of us would be. It was a very touching call. Our hearts go out to them. She is a refugee. She literally came to the United States from a bomb shelter in Ukraine to escape the war. And she was going about her day. She was coming home from work on a light rail train, like all of us do all the time. And she was brutally murdered. As a native of Charlotte, I'm so sad to say that our city has gotten to this place. I was born here. I grew up here. I remember when the light rail was built. I remember the development it spurred. I remember the excitement. And to think now that you can't even feel comfortable riding that train hits me deep. The light rail brought this city access to jobs, access to education. People could take the train to college. It really put Charlotte on the map. And this incident has really, really injured that. Now, to Carlos Brown Jr., who we allege stabbed Erna Sorutska, is in state custody on first-degree murder charges. But I'm here today to announce that we're going to supplement those state charges with federal charges. These federal charges will go alongside the murder case in state court, and we hope that they will ensure justice for Erna, for her family, and for the whole Charlotte community. The charge we are bringing is in Title 18, which is the criminal code. It's Section 1992A7, which is the law that Congress passed really for this situation. It is an act of violence on a mass transportation system. It is a law that is there because acts like this affect the American way. It affects our daily life. It is random acts on a train that are the thoroughbred and how we get through our cities to work, to our places of education, to our families. It is our way of American life. Crime makes people stop taking that light rail. They give up those opportunities, and we are here to be sure that we can save our city and bring those opportunities back. The maximum penalty for this federal crime is life in prison without parole or the death penalty. Of course, each individual case receives its own sentencing hearing by a federal judge that will decide the sentence based on the individual factors in this case. Of course, at this point, we're only making allegations. We do have a charge. We filed a criminal complaint. It has been signed by a federal judge. The charges have been brought, but they are just charges. Getting there has been a process. I want to thank the FBI, which has an incredible team that has investigated this case. They've ensured we had a basis for federal charges. I want to thank the Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department that started this investigation, apprehended the defendant immediately after the incident happened at the light rail station. And I want to thank the District Attorney's Office and Spencer Merriweather, who brought first-degree murder charges right away.
All right. So sad. President Trump has been trying to get in communication with this girl's mother to go over this terrible, terrible situation. What I don't understand is why the Democrat Party is suddenly defending criminals and crime and illegal immigrants. It doesn't make any sense to me. Maybe it does to you, but what do you think should happen to this guy? Life in prison or the death penalty? If you think the death penalty, maybe just type DP. If you think prison, life in prison, LP. I would love to read through what you guys have to say. All right. Now, Joe Scarborough of Morning Joe over on MSNBC, he rarely defends Donald Trump. But he got into it with a Princeton Democrat about how stupid it is to support crime and criminals. And he gives this guy a run for his money. So I want to watch this with you guys, and you let me know what you think of Joe Scarborough.
Let's think about policing differently as we try to address an issue of safety, which every community deserves. Does that make sense?
It does.
Well,
Joe, take it.
Well, but the thing is, you talk about how cops on the streets won't make a difference. I will tell you that one poll after another has suggested otherwise. When you speak to Black Americans, when you speak to poorer Americans, there's a Washington Post poll that we've talked about quite a bit over the past several weeks since we talked about additional troops in Washington, D.C., and that is 91% of D.C. residents said that crime was a serious problem. The people that said crime was a very serious problem overwhelmingly were Black residents. Those who said it was not a serious crime predominantly were white, rich residents. And the demographic who said that crime was the biggest problem were Black women. I go back to 2020 when there were a lot of hipsters talking about defunding the police, a lot of political activists talking about defunding the police. You can find New York Times articles in real time about communities predominantly with people of color in some of the poorest and most dangerous parts of New York City. And their city councilmen and city councilwomen were saying, defund the police. What are you talking about? We need more police on the streets. We need more safety officers in our school. We need more police officers making sure our children and our mothers can walk to school and walk to work without being stopped by gang members. So I guess that's my question back to you. When you're speaking generally about this, are you speaking as an academic? Are you speaking as somebody who reflects these communities who say, we live in a dangerous city? I know rich white people in Georgetown may feel more comfortable, or in Northwest Washington may feel more comfortable, but in Southeast, we don't feel more comfortable. We want more cops.
No, Joe, I'm not just speaking as an academic. I'm speaking as a Black man who has been reared in the United States with a deep-seated suspicion about whether or not police actually are engaged in protecting our communities, right? Having had the talk right? From a young man,
Right.
from a young boy. So there's not this relationship to the police that you're presupposing. And let me just say this, I think.
No,
Hold on,
I'm not
hold on.
presupposing
Let me just
that,
make
Eddie.
this
No,
point,
hold
though.
on, hold on, Eddie.
No,
Hold on,
I-
Eddie, I'm not presupposing anything. I am giving you data. And by the way, are you living the same experience that you're talking about, that we've talked about on this show for 18 years with you and Gene Robinson and everybody else? But is your experience in Princeton the same as somebody's in Anacostia?
Of course not. Of course not. They're class different.
All right. Of course not. He's done very well for himself. He's a professor. He's got a TV gig. He probably makes a couple $100,000 a year. He's probably living in a nice thing. Look at him. Oh, black people, poor people, struggling communities, they don't need police. Let me just sip on this $7 coffee from Starbucks. So, you know, I like that Joe Scarborough was like, listen, let's just be real. This is the data. The data says people want to be safe. The data says people want the police. The data says we feel safer in a community when there's police. So I think that this guy, you know, he's leaning into what he thinks Democrats want to hear. But Democrats, 91% in Washington, D.C. voted against Donald Trump, and 91% said crime is the biggest issue. So the data speaks for cleaning up the community and keeping people safe. All right, let me know in the comments what you guys think about tonight's news broadcast. Brings me no joy to speak about Jeffrey Epstein and the creepiness of that guy. I would like information to come out. Honestly, I don't know what the truth is. There's so many different sides to this story. I would love to hear from you guys. If you could, give this video a like, hit that subscribe button, stay amazing, and I will see you on the next video.